Hello, good evening, and welcome to class number 4 of this Economy Foundation module. I hope you can all see and hear me. If you can see and hear me, please write yes in the chat and we'll get started. Hello, good evening. Welcome. All right, most people are writing yes as far as I can see. So we will start now. All right. So in today's class, we have to look at four things. Firstly, we have to look at the remaining part of law of demand. Then we have to consider a new concept called elasticity of demand. This is what majorly we have to understand today. After we understand elasticity of demand, a related topic is types of goods. Now ये टॉपिक काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. जब हम नेशनल इनकम अकाउंटिंग पढ़ेंगे तब ये टॉपिक काफी काम में आएगा और इस पे वैसे भी काफी क्वेश्चंस आते हैं. सो दीज आर द थ्री थिंग्स वी विल प्लान टू कवर टुडे. And in tomorrow's class, we will cover law of supply and we will understand market equilibrium. And that will be the first 5 set of classes जिसके notes आपके पास uploaded हैं, जिसमें we will have covered all the basics of microeconomics. So let's get started. The chat is private today, right from the beginning, because आप लोगों के chat पढ़ना बहुत ही amazing experience रहता है मेरे लिए भी. आज जब मैंने क्लास ऑन करी तो is anyone from West Bengal, is anyone from Kerala, is anyone from Kashmir, is anyone from Delhi. कोई कह रहा था हेलो नैना, कोई कह रहा था हेलो प्रतीक. आपस में बात करने के लिए नहीं है ये चैट. ये मेरे से बात करने के लिए है, वो भी तब जब मैं बोलूं कि मुझे आपसे बात करनी है. राइट अभी मुझे आपसे बात करनी है थ्रू व्हाट आई एम टीचिंग यू, नॉट थ्रू द चैट. ऐसे बैठ के हम कितनी भी टाइम बात कर सकते हैं और आपकी जहाँ से आप आते हैं और सारी जगहें भी ट्रेस कर सकते हैं, बट पहले थोड़ी सी पढ़ाई कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, चलिए लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड. हमने कहा कल यहाँ पर छोड़ा था अपने डिस्कशन को. yesterday we were discussing this, we were discussing the determinants of demand. वो कौन कौन सी चीजें हैं जिससे डिमांड चेंज होती है. हमने सबसे पहले प्राइस देखा. when there was price we saw that there will be movement along the demand curve. along the demand curve ही movement होगी, shift of graph नहीं होगा. now उसके आगे we saw things like income. when we were looking at income, what did we see? In the case of income, we saw there are two types of goods. There are inferior goods and there are normal goods. And depending on whether it was an inferior good or normal good, the demand changed with income. Third is price of other products. Other products में हमने कौन कौन से goods देखे थे? We saw substitute goods and we saw complement goods. Substitute good के साथ हमने देखा था. Substitute good का क्या example था? One example is tea and coffee. Complement good का हमने क्या example देखा था? Example of Kindle and e-books. ये हमने example देखा था. So these were the things we had seen so far. अब determinants of demand में carry forward करते हुए the next topic that we had to see was taste and preferences. तो अब taste and preferences से देखते हैं कि demand पे कैसे फर्क पड़ता है. Of course, when we are studying these factors, we will assume all other things to be constant. बाकी सारी चीजों को हम assume करेंगे that they are constant. We will only study this particular factor and its impact on demand. Now, सबसे पहले taste and preferences. What does this mean? Taste and preference means the taste and preferences of consumers. So as a product becomes either lame or cool in your mind, the product becomes either lame or becomes cool. जैसे मान लीजिए कि this is the demand curve for red colored shirts. Red shirts का demand curve ये है. This is price, this is quantity, this is the shape of the demand curve. Now मान लो आप विराट कोहली के बहुत बड़े फैन हो, considering his recent performances होना नहीं चाहिए, but let's say आप उसके बहुत बड़े फैन हो, then he comes out and gives a statement in the public that wearing red shirts is very cool. If Virat Kohli comes out and says wearing red shirts is very cool, what happens to your demand of red shirts? Your demand of red shirts अब क्या होगा? Will it increase or decrease? Considering you are this person's fan, आप इस person के fan हो, what happens to the demand for red shirts. Your demand for red shirts will increase. If your demand for red shirts will increase, what will happen to the graph of demand curve of red shirts? Will this graph move towards this side, or will it move towards this side? Will it move towards the right, or will it move towards the left? क्या होगा? This graph will shift towards the right. So if some popular person chooses to endorse a product, then the demand for that particular product generally increases and the demand curve shifts to the right. Now, this is the reason why these people like celebrities, actors, cricketers, famous people are recruited by brands as brand ambassadors. Because if you are this person's fan and he is endorsing a product, it is more likely that you will buy this product. The demand will increase, the demand curve will shift to the right. So you will buy more red shirts if Virat Kohli chooses to endorse red shirts. So demand for red shirts shift towards the right. Earlier at price P1, you were buying this quantity of red shirts. Now people are going to buy this quantity. The quantity demanded has increased without a change in the price. The graph has shifted towards the right. इसीलिए जो brands हैं, इसीलिए brands will go and ask people to endorse their products. So which people are these? Celebrities. Because they lead to an outward movement of the demand curve. Now, next. Please write this down. Favorable change of consumer preferences. Now, your preferences have changed favorably here. आपको favorably आपकी consumer preferences change हो गई हैं. Favorably you have changed towards red shirts because of the influence of Virat Kohli. There can be some other influence also. That someone you like from the opposite gender likes the color red. Then you will buy more red shirts because consumer preferences have changed favorably towards an item will lead to more demand. Please write this slide down. Now, next. अब डिटर्मिनेंट्स ऑफ डिमांड देख रहे थे हमने क्या स्टडी करना है? लॉ ऑफ डिमांड स्टडी करना है. हम यहां पर प्राइस देख चुके हैं. वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन प्राइस चेंज होगा तो मूवमेंट अलोंग द डिमांड कर्व होगा. इनकम हम देख चुके हैं. Price of other products we have seen, price of complements, price of substitutes we have seen, taste and preferences we have seen example of Virat Kohli and red shirts. ये सारी चीजें हम देख चुके हैं. Now let me give you the next determinant of demand, which is expectation of future price. फ्यूचर प्राइस की आपकी क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन है, उससे क्या होता है आपकी डिमांड को. लेट्स सी. नाउ दिस इज द डिमांड कर्व ऑफ पेट्रोल. अभी ये प्राइस है, ये क्वांटिटी है. दिस इज द डिमांड कर्व ऑफ पेट्रोल. ओके. नाउ the honorable finance minister comes out and says, she gives a statement that from next month petrol will be rupees 10 per liter more expensive. Today petrol is 90 rupees per liter. From next month, that is from December, petrol will be rupees 100 per liter. If this statement is given by the honorable finance minister, what happens to the demand of petrol today? आज क्या होगा डिमांड ऑफ पेट्रोल को? What happens to the demand of petrol today? The demand of petrol today will increase. The demand of petrol today will increase. And what will happen to the demand curve? Demand curve will shift outward. So today till the prices rise, till December 1st, the demand of petrol will increase and there will be an outward shift of the demand curve. So price quantity, outward shift of demand curve, people will at the same price, today's price, buy more petrol. They will fill up their car tanks. कि बाद में ज्यादा पैसे लगाने पड़ेंगे, अभी मैं अपनी कार टैंक को फिल कर लेता हूं. नाउ नेक्स्ट हम देख चुके हैं प्राइस में क्या होगा, मूवमेंट अलोंग द कर्व. हम देख चुके हैं इनकम में क्या देखा था, इंफीरियर गुड्स, लग्जरी गुड, इंफीरियर गुड्स, नॉर्मल गुड्स, लग्जरी गुड्स तो हम अभी देखेंगे. प्राइस ऑफ अदर प्रोडक्ट्स देख चुके हैं, सब्स्टिट्यूट्स एंड कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स. टेस्ट एंड प्रेफरेंसेस देख चुके हैं, आई लाइक अ पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट मोर सो आई विल बाय इट मोर. एक्सपेक्टेशन ऑफ फ्यूचर प्राइस देख चुके हैं, मुझे लगता है बाद में महंगा हो जाएगा तो मैं आज ही खरीद लूंगा, मुझे लगता है बाद में सस्ता हो जाएगा तो मैं आज नहीं खरीदूंगा, आई विल वेट फॉर दिस. नाउ नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल इज साइज ऑफ द मार्केट. Size of the market. What happens with size of the market? Expectation of future price. Somebody is asking me to repeat it. देखो, expectation of future price is simple. I feel that I like red shirts. ठीक है, मुझे रेड शर्ट्स पसंद हैं. I know that in 1 month, when 25th December comes, there is going to be a sale on red shirts. सेल होगी दिसंबर में, ऑब्वियसली. आज तो सेल नहीं है, बट आई नो कि जब क्रिसमस आएगा, न्यू ईयर्स आएगा, तब सेल होगी. इफ आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग, आई एक्सपेक्ट दैट इन दिस सेल द प्राइस विल गो डाउन. व्हाट हैपन्स टू माय डिमांड टुडे? आज मैं क्या करूंगा? व्हाट विल आई डू राइट नाउ? My demand will reduce because I have an expectation of the future that in the future when price will be lower then I will buy. मैं एक महीना वेट कर लेता हूं, एक महीना वेट करता हूं, एक महीने बाद जब रेड शर्ट सस्ती हो जाएंगी तब मैं रेड शर्ट खरीद लूंगा. सो एक्सपेक्टेशन ऑफ फ्यूचर प्राइस leads to a change in the demand curve. And since expectation of future price graph पे नहीं है, it is not on the graph, what will happen? A shift of the demand curve will happen with expectation of future price. जैसे मुझे पता है कि बाद में सेल होने वाली है तो अभी नहीं लेते, जब सेल आएगी तब ले लेंगे. Simple as that. Now, next is size of the market. देखो, this is the demand curve of petrol. If there are 10,000 cars in India today, let's assume there are 10,000 cars in India today. After 6 months, there are 20,000 cars in India. What happens to the demand for petrol after 6 months? 6 महीने बाद डिमांड फॉर पेट्रोल को क्या हुआ? Now will it increase or decrease? It will obviously increase. पहले सिर्फ 10,000 लोग थे. There were only 10,000 people with cars. Now there are 20,000 people with cars. अब इस हर कार को पेट्रोल चाहिए. So with time elapsing, the demand will rise. There will be an outward shift of the demand curve. So as the number of consumers increase, the demand increases. Demand for petrol, this is the condition where there were 20,000 cars. This is the condition when there are only 10,000 cars. As the number of consumers will increase, demand will increase, and vice versa. Vice versa means opposite of this is also true. As the number of consumers decrease, demand for a product will decrease. Simple है तो fair enough. इसमें तो कोई not that difficult to understand. ठीक है. Now, let us look at the final determinant of demand, which is special circumstances. Some special things have happened, some special circumstances have happened. इसका एग्जांपल देखते हैं. This is the demand for ice creams in summer months. In the summer, this is the demand curve for ice cream. इधर प्राइस है, इधर क्वांटिटी है. This is the demand curve for ice cream. Special circumstances can be change in season, change in weather, some natural disaster, etc. If this is the demand curve for demand of ice creams in summer, what happens to the demand in winter? Winter में क्या होगा? Will people want more or less ice creams in winter? What happens in winter? Winter में people will demand lesser ice creams. So when people will demand lesser ice creams in winter, the demand curve will move inside. The demand of ice creams will decreases. So demand of a product can change with certain special circumstances also. This can be season, weather. एक हमने एग्जांपल देखा था फुटबॉल्स की डिमांड का when the FIFA World Cup started. So these are certain special circumstances. Demand for ice creams will reduce. Now, हम क्या पढ़ रहे थे? हम पढ़ रहे थे लॉ ऑफ डिमांड. What did the law of demand say? Law of demand का बेसिक assumption क्या था? Law of demand कह रहा था quantity demanded of an item inversely varies with price. Now, other than price also, we have checked some certain things. Now, this is your job to. अब आपका टाइम है रिवाइज करने का. आपके साथ में रिवाइज कर रहा हूं. सबसे पहले हमने क्या देखा? सबसे पहले हमने देखा चेंज विद इनकम. इनकम में क्या कंडीशन थी? अगर नॉर्मल गुड है तो इनकम इंक्रीज, डिमांड विल इंक्रीज. अगर इंफीरियर गुड है, इनकम इंक्रीज, डिमांड विल डिक्रीज. सेकेंड चीज हमने देखी रिलेटेड गुड्स. इफ प्राइस ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूट विल इंक्रीज, डिमांड विल, बताओ, सब्स्टिट्यूट का प्राइस बढ़ेगा तो डिमांड विल इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज. बिल्कुल. फीफा वर्ल्ड कप कैन ऑल्सो कम इन टेस्ट एंड प्रेफरेंसेस, बोथ. यहां पर कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट क्लासिफिकेशन करने को आपको कभी नहीं बोलेगा. सब्स्टिट्यूट का प्राइस बढ़ा, डिमांड बढ़ गया. बटर इज मोर एक्सपेंसिव सो आई विल बाय जैम. रिलेटेड में दूसरा हमने देखा था कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स. कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स में क्या है? प्राइस ऑफ द कॉम्प्लीमेंट हैज इंक्रीज्ड, डिमांड विल, बताओ ऊपर या नीचे? प्राइस ऑफ कॉम्प्लीमेंट हैज इंक्रीज्ड, डिमांड विल डिक्रीज. गुड. इनकम हो गया, रिलेटेड गुड्स हो गया. इसके अलावा हमने क्या देखा? वी जस्ट सॉ टेस्ट एंड प्रेफरेंसेस. We saw expectation of future. If I expect that in the future there is going to be a sale on this product, if I expect that future में there is going to be a sale on this product, my demand will, बताओ, increase or decrease? If I expect a future sale, my current demand will decrease. इसके अलावा हमने देखा certain special circumstances. Did we see anything else also? Yes, we just saw size of market, number of consumers increase, demand will increase. These are all the determinants of demand. Demand किसी चीज की कैसे वेरी करती है वो हमने देखा है डिपेंडिंग ऑन वेरियस फैक्टर्स. नाउ यूपीएससी में इस चीज पे कम क्वेश्चन आते हैं, बट इफ यू लुक एट द रिलेटेड एग्जाम्स एंड वी विल डू अ टेस्ट एट द एंड ऑफ द क्लास आल्सो, इन चीजों पे बहुत क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं. नाउ गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, हमने ये सारे फैक्टर्स कंसिडर कर लिए, आगे देखते हैं। नेक्स्ट थिंग वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी इज टाइप्स ऑफ गुड्स। टाइप्स ऑफ गुड्स, एंड टाइप्स ऑफ गुड्स से ही एक रिलेटेड कॉन्सेप्ट है द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी। अब टाइप्स ऑफ गुड मींस अगर मैं किसी एक गुड को एक टाइप में डालता हूं, लेट्स से आई से वन गुड इज अ इंफीरियर गुड, डज नॉट मीन इट कैन नॉट फिट इनटू अदर टाइप्स। If I put one good in one type, does not mean it will not fit into some other type. A normal good can also be a luxury good. A normal good can also be a necessary good, etc. तो टाइप वर्ड से कभी कभी क्या होता है, आर ब्रेन्स बिकम लिमिटेड। फ्रॉम टाइप वर्ड समटाइम्स आर ब्रेन्स बिकम लिमिटेड। डोंट लेट योर ब्रेन बिकम लिमिटेड बाय वन टाइप। तो टाइप शुड ऑलवेज बी एग्जामिन्ड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ समथिंग। कोई बेसिस होना चाहिए किसी टाइप को एग्जामिन करने के लिए। अदर देन दैट यू शुड नॉट लुक एट दैट टाइप कि वो और टाइप्स में नहीं आ सकता। दिस यू नीड टू इंश्योर। नाउ पहली चीज है टाइप्स ऑफ गुड रिलेशनशिप विद इनकम एंड डिमांड। ये हम ऑलरेडी देख चुके हैं। टाइप्स ऑफ गुड डिपेंडिंग ऑन रिलेशनशिप विद इनकम एंड डिमांड। वन इज नॉर्मल गुड, वन इज इंफीरियर गुड। नॉर्मल गुड की डेफिनेशन क्या थी? डिमांड विल इंक्रीज विद इंक्रीज इन इनकम। एज इनकम इंक्रीजेस डिमांड विल ऑल्सो इंक्रीज। इंफीरियर गुड्स में क्या था? डिमांड विल डिक्रीज विद इंक्रीज इन इनकम। जस्ट वन सेकेंड, सॉरी। Sorry about this. Okay. Types of goods on the basis of relationship with income and demand. We have already seen this. In normal goods, demand increases with increasing income. If we look at inferior goods, demand decreases with increasing income. ये तो हम already देख चुके हैं. We have already seen these things. है ना? It should not be a problem. Now, next. Relationship with each other. ये types भी हम देख चुके हैं. Substitute goods are those goods that can replace each other. Substitute goods are those goods that can replace each other. Complement goods are those goods that are used together. इनको साथ में यूज किया जाता है. Unrelated goods can also be there, which have no relationship with each other. For example, tea and red shirts. इनका आपस में कोई रिलेशनशिप नहीं है. They are consumed separately, they are taken separately. ये टाइप्स भी हम देख चुके हैं. We have seen what are substitute goods. We have seen what are complement goods. We have seen unrelated goods. This also should not be a problem. है ना? ठीक है. Now, third type of good is what we have to understand now. अब थोड़ा ध्यान से चैट में स्पैमिंग बंद करके, है ना? I'll just actually say one thing. देखो यार, मैं आपको बताता हूँ what is the story. I am standing here and there is a camera in front of me and there is a monitor on this side. When you constantly write big messages in the chat, all it does is distract me. Monitor मेरे से दूर है, मैं पढ़ नहीं सकता हूँ वो messages unless I go there. ठीक है, तभी मैं कई बार इधर जाके जाता हूँ. If you have a doubt, there is a doubt form in this class, right? आप doubt form में doubt लिखो. I on Saturday, Monday to Friday हमारी class है. It is my job on Saturday to answer all those doubts and I will answer them on Saturday. Saturday को आपको email आ जाएगा. But there are a few disclaimers. डाउट फॉर्म में जब आज देख रहा था, some people have written, सर पढ़ाई में मन नहीं लग रहा. This is not a doubt. ठीक है, ये डाउट नहीं है. I cannot help you with this in a doubt form. The doubt form is meant for economy के doubts that you have with what I am teaching you here. Okay, please जो आपके doubts हैं, you please write them in the doubt form. It is my job to reply them to you. Okay, as part of my employment here, it is my job to reply to your doubts. I will do that on Saturday. Saturday को मेरा यही काम है कि मैं आपके doubts का reply करूं. But अगर आप क्लास के बीच में constantly बड़े बड़े messages डालोगे, it will distract me and बाकी सब लोग उससे hurt होते हैं. One momentary lapse of concentration in an online class ruins your experience. Problem यही है कि हम screens पे देख रहे हैं, laptop पे देख रहे हैं, mobile phone पे देख रहे हैं. And then when your experience gets ruined, when you have not listened carefully, you will now try to put in chats and ruin the experience of everyone else also. I'm sure you can understand that जितने भी लोग यहाँ पर हैं, आप, I'm sure you know this, I possibly cannot teach slower than this. I am going on every concept at least twice or thrice, बहुत आराम से और बहुत डिटेल में I am discussing things with you. But अगर उसके बाद भी you have some doubt remaining, there is a doubt form. This live chat is just to ensure that you are able to listen carefully, that you are attentive, you are participating. जो मैं आपको बोल रहा हूं वो आपको समझ आ रहा है. And when I ask you questions, you are able to reply. Right? इसके अलावा जो doubts हैं, you please put in the doubt form. If you put them here, how can we complete the task that is in front of us? ठीक है? All right. Now, अब थोड़ा ध्यान दो. अब प्लीज चैट बंद कर दो. अभी भी आप चैट में मैसेजेस लिखोगे, मैं नहीं पढ़ सकता हूं जो मेरे सामने है. आई कैन नॉट रीड such big messages. I can just see that a message has come. It is only a distraction in my peripheral vision. I will give you time, okay, but this is impossible for me to read. For example, I can just see that someone has written a big message in capitals recently. Abhi. I cannot see the message. मेरे लिए नहीं है possible पढ़ना. My eyesight is not that good. चश्मे लगे हुए मेरे को already, है ना? चल. Anyway, now let us go on types of goods on the basis of slope of demand curve. Now this is an important concept. अब आप सब भूल जाओ and you look at this curve. Let me see if you have understood or not. एक क्वेश्चन पूछता हूं मैं आपसे, इसके लिए चैट एग्जिस्ट करती है for you to answer these questions. This is price level P1, this is price level P2. Obviously P1 is greater than P2. This is the demand curve of an object. Okay, yeah, let me make it differently for you. This is the demand curve of an object. क्या मतलब है इस बात का? That at price 1 quantity demanded is Q1, at price 2 the quantity demanded is Q2. Even if there is an increase in price, huge increase in price, from P2 price has hugely increased to P1. There has been an increase in price. The quantity demanded has gone only from Q2 to Q1. सिर्फ very small change. Despite a huge increase in price, there is a small change in the quantity demanded. अब सोच के जवाब देना, जल्दी जवाब मत देना. Is this a luxury good or is this a necessary good? Please सोच के. मैं बहुत जज करने वाला हूं आपके आंसर को अभी. Is this a luxury good or a necessary good? ठीक है. I don't know if you saw the slide or not, but I will give you the benefit of the doubt कि आपको पता है. देखो, necessary good, for example, let's say something like Crocin. Crocin का जो salt name है, that is paracetamol. Paracetamol is a medicine that we take when we have fever. Today, one tablet of paracetamol is available for merely 1 rupee. Paracetamol की एक tablet अभी available है 1 rupee के लिए. Even if price of one tablet of paracetamol becomes 100 rupees, even in this condition, when there is a huge increase in price, the quantity that you will demand will not change that much. उतना change नहीं होगा. ये मैं कह सकता हूं कि हाँ, कम फीवर है, बहुत महंगी मेडिसिन है, तो मैं कभी कभी अवॉइड कर लूं. बट जब फीवर आएगा, मुझे पैरासिटामोल खरीदनी ही पड़ेगी. So even when there is a huge increase in price, there is a very small change in quantity demanded. This is the example of a necessary good. Because even if the price of paracetamol becomes 500 times, 100 times, even then in fever I have no other option, I will have to buy paracetamol. Let's say the price of rice, मान लो आप सिर्फ राइस खाते हो, and price of rice becomes 200 times, even then you will be forced to buy rice. आप थोड़ा कम कर सकते हो कि ठीक है मैं एक आधा मील कम खा लूंगा, कुछ और खा लूंगा, but if rice is your staple diet, you will have to purchase rice even at a very high price. Even at a very high price you will have to purchase rice. This is a necessary good. This is the demand curve of a necessary good. So the demand curve of a necessary good looks something like this. Despite large change in price, very small change in quantity demanded. This is necessary good. For example, life-saving drugs. Drugs like paracetamol. Fever में paracetamol खाना is almost compulsory. Even if the price increases many-fold, you will have to buy some paracetamol. Quantity demanded does not change. Changes in a very small manner. Very small change in quantity demanded despite large change in price. Now, let us look at another example. This is price. This is quantity. This is the demand curve. There is very small change in price, but quantity demanded has increased hugely. Very small change in price, but huge increase in quantity demanded. What sort of good is this? Is this luxury good or necessary good? This is a luxury good. For example, on Big Billion Day, huge number of iPhones are bought in India. Huge number of iPhones are bought in India. थोड़ा सा ही price change होता है. On Big Billion Day, the price is reduced only by a small amount, 10% sale on iPhones. But in this 10% sale, a huge number of people decide to buy because they feel for them iPhone is just unaffordable. 50,000 का iPhone they can buy, 60,000 का iPhone they cannot buy. So very small change in price, just a 10% discount enables lot of more users to then buy that product. This is the example of a luxury good. Very small change in price. And another way to write the word change in shorthand is to make this symbol. This symbol, whenever you see, if I write triangle P, it is pronounced as delta P. If I write delta P, it means change in price. When change in price is very small, the change in quantity demanded is very high. This is the example of a luxury good. Right? Delta P is small, delta QD is very high. Now, ये है luxury good. Small change in price, suddenly the quantity demanded increases manifold. जैसे कि iPhones on discount on Big Billion Day, huge sales are there because small change in price, just a 10% discount, right? It will mean a lot of more people will want to buy. Okay, this is the example of luxury goods. Even if there is 30% discount on paracetamol tablets today, मान लो पैरासिटामोल की टैबलेट पे आज 30% डिस्काउंट अनाउंस हो जाता है, विल यू अक्यूमुलेट पैरासिटामोल कि यार चलो इकट्ठी कर लेते हैं? नहीं, you won't, because it is a necessary good. It is a good that has to be bought only when you have fever. So necessary goods do not change that much with change in price. Luxury goods change a lot. If Apple announces a 50% discount on iPhones today, almost all of us will buy an iPhone because quantity demanded will hugely increase. Now, अभी तक हमने किस टाइप का डिमांड कर्व देखा है? Every demand curve that we have seen so far, is a downsloping, negatively sloping डिमांड कर्व. ठीक है, हमने कुछ उल्टे सीधे डिमांड कर्व देखे हैं, जैसे कि ये या फिर ये, बट ऑल डिमांड कर्व्स वी हैव सीन सो फार आर स्लोपिंग लाइक दिस. दे आर डाउनवर्ड स्लोपिंग डिमांड कर्व्स, downward sloping demand curves. Now we will see some exceptional demand curves. Exceptional means that they are an exception to the law of demand. जो law of demand है, ये demand curves उनके exception हैं. यहां पे there are two types of good. One good is called Veblen good and one good is called Giffen good. Now we will examine these two types of good, Veblen good and Giffen good. देखते हैं. What is a Veblen good? Veblen good was given by Professor Thorsten Veblen. ये नाम आपके लिए बिल्कुल इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. I am just letting you know. He was an economist. His name was Thorsten Veblen. In his book Theory of the Leisure Class, Theory of the Luxury Class, he gave this example of Veblen goods. Veblen goods are luxury items that serve as a status symbol. Luxury goods से confuse मत करना. They are luxury items that serve as a status symbol. For example, a Mercedes car used to be a status symbol in India. अब तो सबके पास है, right? It's almost ubiquitously visible on the street now. बहुत लोगों के पास है. But Mercedes car used to be a status symbol. Imagine 20 years back, somebody having a Mercedes car. Today, it would be like somebody having a Lamborghini or somebody having an Aston Martin, somebody having a Rolls Royce. It is considered a status symbol. Example. शायद लड़कियों को ये example ज़्यादा अच्छे से समझ आएगा, लड़कों को शायद उतना नहीं आएगा, but bear with me. Consider the case of a LV handbag, Louis Vuitton का handbag. ठीक है, एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं. देयर आर 4 लेडीज एंड ऑल ऑफ देम आर सीईओज ऑफ बिग कंपनीज एंड दे हैव वेरी हाई इनकम्स. देयर आर 4 लेडीज, ऑल ऑफ देम आर सीईओज ऑफ वेरी हाई इनकम कंपनीज एंड उनकी खुद की इनकम भी बहुत ज्यादा है. There are 4 types of handbags available. One is Coach, one is Michael Kors, one is Louis Vuitton, one is Gucci. And all 4 of these handbags cost 50,000 rupees per bag. इन चारों की कॉस्ट 50,000 rupees per bag है. 4 of these bags are available and these 4 ladies are there who are CEOs of these companies. बहुत हाई इनकम है इन चारों लेडीज की. Their incomes is greater than 5 crore per year. Okay. Now, suddenly what happens is, ये इन्होंने इनमें से इनके पास सारे बैग्स के कॉम्बिनेशंस हैं. They have bought all these bags. Suddenly what happens is that the price of Louis Vuitton handbag becomes rupees 2 lakh per bag, and this is the actual current price of a Louis Vuitton handbag, right? So Louis Vuitton का जो handbag है, that becomes 2 lakh rupees per bag. So now there are 4 ladies. Coach का handbag is available for 50,000. Michael Kors का handbag is available for 50,000. Gucci का handbag is available for 50,000. Louis Vuitton handbag is now available for 2 lakh rupees. What happens is one of these ladies goes and purchases a LV handbag. Now when she purchases this LV handbag, she starts flaunting it. वो अपने दोस्तों को दिखाने लगती है कि देखो मैंने तो LV का हैंडबैग लिया है. I have bought this LV handbag which is 2 lakh rupees. तुम सबके तो merely 50,000 रुपए के हैंडबैग है, मेरा हैंडबैग 2 लाख रुपए का है. it becomes a status symbol, it becomes an item of snob value कि देखो मेरे पास 2 लाख रुपए का हैंडबैग है. Now these other 3 ladies, their income is also 5 crore rupees per year. But with this one lady possessing this LV handbag, for the other 3, inability to buy this LV handbag is a symbol of inferiority and demerit. बाकी तीनों को वो दिखाती है कि देखो तुम नहीं खरीद सकती एलवी का हैंडबैग. आई एम दी ओनली पर्सन हु कैन बाय एन एलवी हैंडबैग. मेरा हैंडबैग 2 लाख रुपए का है. What will these other 3 ladies do now? Once this happens, what is the rational response of these other 3 ladies? What is the rational response of these other 3 ladies? They are earning 5 crore rupees per year. They are CEOs with very high incomes. Their rational response will be to now all 3 of them will also go and buy an LV handbag. Because they can easily afford this amount. उनके लिए amount कोई बड़ी चीज नहीं है. Now, so these 3 ladies also go and buy an LV handbag. Now let us examine the curve, demand curve of an LV handbag. This was the earlier price, 50,000 rupees. This is the new price, 2 lakh rupees. This is the quantity demanded. Over time, with the increase in price, the demand of this good has increased. This is opposite to the law of demand. ये law of demand से उल्टा है. This is an exceptional demand curve because it is an upward sloping demand curve. With increase in price, the quantity demanded is increasing, and this is a luxury item. Not luxury goods. Luxury goods are different. This is a luxury item. It is a snob value item. So with increase in price, the quantity demanded has increased. One person bought it and everyone else bought it now because it is associated with status. The purpose of consumption of LV handbag is not use of LV handbag. Handbag तो आप किसी का ले लो फिर. Purpose of consumption of this LV handbag is not use of this handbag. Purpose of consumption is to show my status. Such sort of consumption, कोई anthropology optional वाला है, economy optional वाला है और sociology optional वाला है, तो वो इसको नोट कर ले. Such sort of consumption is called conspicuous consumption. Such sort of consumption is called conspicuous consumption. Conspicuous consumption पे anthropology में 2020 में मेंस में क्वेश्चन आया था. Conspicuous consumption. What is the meaning of the word conspicuous? Conspicuous means to show. Inconspicuous is what? Inconspicuous is something that is not apparent. जो दिखता नहीं है. You walk into a room, साइड में छोटी सी चीज पड़ी है. It is inconspicuous. You walk into a room, बड़ी सी पेंटिंग लगी है. It is conspicuous. Conspicuous consumption is consumption that we do to show others. दूसरों को दिखाने के लिए, not for its use. So Veblen goods are goods that are usually involved in conspicuous consumption. And in the case of Veblen goods, the quantity demanded increases with increase in price. समझ आई ये बात? Is this clear? Somebody is writing like Elvish Yadav. I mean, I am usually amazed कि आप लोगों का कैसा दिमाग चलता है ना? Even I could not have thought of this example. Elvish Yadav, showing things off. बिल्कुल वही है ये. These are Veblen goods. goods that you buy to show off to others. Now, the bend on this line is not relevant. आपको देखो यार, कोई भी ग्राफ बनाने को नहीं बोलेगा. You can never be asked to make a graph in prelims. मैं ऐसे भी बना सकता हूं इस लाइन को. The bend on this graph is not relevant. वो मैंने ऐसे बना दिया है. You can make it like this also. It is absolutely okay. ठीक है. What is happening with the LV handbag, which is a Veblen good? Price is increasing, but despite price increasing, quantity demanded is increasing, and it is a luxury good. So in normal cases, the slope of the demand curve is like this. It is a negatively sloping, downward sloping demand curve. In the case of Veblen good, slope is upward like this. Upward sloping demand curve. Quantity demanded will increase with price increase. Now, let's look at other type of goods. Other type of exceptional goods. Exception to demand curve. Exceptional goods are Giffen goods. The idea of Giffen goods was given by Sir Robert Giffen. This is not something that is usually observed. हम generally Giffen goods का example देखते नहीं हैं, but mathematically it is possible. Now, inferior goods, Giffen goods क्या हैं? They are inferior goods whose quantity demanded increases as price increases. They are also an exception to law of demand. What were Veblen goods? Veblen goods were luxury goods, where quantity demanded was increasing with price increase, exception to law of demand. Giffen goods are inferior goods whose quantity demanded increases as price increases. They are also an exception to law of demand. This was given by Sir Robert Giffen. Now, एक एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं. Let's say there is a poor household. This poor household must consume 30 kg of food grains per month. इन्होंने 30 kg of food grains consume करने हैं per month. Their total budget is rupees 200. So in rupees 200, they have to buy 30 kg of food grains. One food grain available is wheat. Wheat is available at rupees 10 per kg, and wheat is a normal good. Normal good मतलब? बताओ normal good मतलब? We have read this. What is the meaning of the word normal good with regards to income? Normal good का क्या मतलब होता है? Write in the chat. Normal good is a good whose, complete this line. Necessary नहीं है normal good यार. Normal good is a good whose demand increases with increase in income. पढ़े तो थे दो टाइप के good, normal good और inferior good. I have said this line, this thing I have said 20 times in this class only. We have read normal and inferior goods. Normal goods are income increase, demand increase. है ना? Now, wheat. Wheat is a normal good available at rupees 10 per kg. Bajra is an inferior good available at rupees 5 per kg. Bajra is an inferior good. Inferior good means income increase, demand decrease. Bajra is an inferior good available at rupees 5 per kg. Currently, this family's budget looks something like this. They have to have 30 kg of food grain. Their budget is rupees 200. So at 10 rupees per kg, they buy 10 kg of wheat and they spend 100 rupees. At 5 rupees per kg, they buy 20 kg of bajra, they spend 100 rupees. So total spent is 200 rupees. Total quantity they have taken is 30 kg. This is their exact requirement at this moment. अभी ये condition ऐसी है कि wheat is 10 rupees per kg, 10 किलो wheat खरीदा, 100 रुपए खर्च किए. बाजरा is 5 rupees per kg, 20 किलो बाजरा खरीदा, 100 रुपए खर्च किए. And this is their current condition. They are buying 30 kg of wheat with 200 rupees of money spent. Now, अब मान लो in this case price of bajra goes up. In this case, price of bajra goes up. As the price of bajra goes up, what happens? Bajra is now from rupees 5 per kg to rupees 6 per kg. Right? अब what do they need to do? इसको भूल जाओ अभी के लिए, ये देखते हैं. बाजरा अब 6 रुपए किलो हो गया. Need is still 30 kg. Budget is still rupees 200. Wheat, rupees 10 per kg wheat. They will now buy only 5 kg of wheat. Bajra is now rupees 6 per kg. They will have to buy 25 kg of bajra. Now it is only possible to obtain 30 kg of food grains. उन्हें अगर 30 kg रुपीस 200 में ही चाहिए तो अब उन्हें मिनिमम 25 किलो बाजरा खरीदना पड़ेगा. There is no other combination possible. Right? There is no other combination possible. पहले 5 रुपए का बाजरा था, 10 रुपए का wheat था, so they were buying 20 kg of bajra and 10 kg of wheat. Bajra is now 6 rupees per kg. अब जब बाजरा 6 रुपीस का है, wheat 10 रुपीस का है, and they have only 200 rupees to spend, they will now have to buy 6 rupees per kg of bajra at 25 kg. यहां खर्च होंगे 150 rupees. They will only be able to buy 5 kg of wheat. So if I look at the demand for bajra, with increase in price from rupees 5 to rupees 6, earlier bajra was 20 kg. Now demand is 25 kg. So as the price has increased, quantity demanded of bajra has increased. Price के साथ quantity demanded of bajra has become even more. Bajra is an inferior good. So if I now make the demand curve of bajra, as the price has gone up, quantity demanded has gone up. Price of bajra has gone up, quantity demanded of bajra has gone up. Exceptional upsloping demand curve, upward sloping exceptional demand curve is seen, and it is an inferior good. These type of goods are called Giffen goods. Now, there is no real world example of such goods. Actually, if you look at it, real world examples are very, very rare or actually not found. But through modeling and microeconomic mathematics, you can look at such goods. हमें हमारे लिए क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है? हमारे लिए डेफिनेशन इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो हमें क्या समझ आया? Veblen goods, luxury items, quantity demanded increases with price increase. Giffen goods, inferior goods, quantity demanded increases with price increase. Please write this down. Please write this down. अगर इसको याद करना है, one way to remember this: V for Veblen, V for Vadia, G for Giffen, G for Ghatia. Please write this down. हो जाए तो बता देना. देखो, there is no real world example of Giffen goods. I have given you one example here to show you this इट इज पॉसिबल थ्रू मैथमेटिकल मॉडलिंग. इसके प्रूफ पे हमें जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. ऑल वी नीड टू नो इज व्हाट आर गिवन गुड्स. इसके बियॉन्ड वी डोंट नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एनीथिंग अबाउट गिवन गुड्स. इट इज नॉट आस्क्ड and not relevant for UPSC or any other UPSC exam. If you just know what are given goods, there will not be a problem. Now, दोबारा देख लेते हैं given goods को. Given goods are inferior goods whose quantity demanded will increase as price will increase. If you can remember this line, it is not a problem. इसके beyond आपको कुछ याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. But still, हमने ये एग्जाम्पल देखा. एक फैमिली थी जिसको 30 kg ऑफ फूड ग्रेन्स कंज्यूम करने थे पर मंथ. देयर बजट वाज ₹200. बाय डेफिनेशन वी नो दैट wheat is a normal good. Normal good meaning as incomes increase, people buy more wheat. By definition we know bajra is an inferior good. As incomes decrease, people buy less of bajra. This is not connected to this idea. This is just universally true. At this moment in 200 rupees, they wanted obviously to consume more wheat as much as possible. ये फैमिली चाहेगी कि हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा wheat खाएं. But they are unable to buy more than 10 kg of wheat because they need total 30 kg of food grains. So at this condition, they have 200 rupees. 100 rupees they are spending on wheat, they get 10 kg. 100 rupees they spend on bajra, they get 20 kg. Total 30 kg demand is met. Now what happens is, bajra ka price increases. Bajra becomes ₹6 per kg. Now what is the possible combination that they can use? अब क्या तरीका है उनके पास? What is the only possible combination that they can use to still have 30 kg of food grains? The only possible combination now is to buy 25 kg of bajra and spend 150 rupees on bajra. Buy 5 kg of wheat, spend 50 kg of wheat, 50 rupees on wheat, sorry. Total it becomes ₹200. Total quantity they have taken is 25 and 5, which becomes 30. Now from here to here, the price of bajra has increased. Price of bajra has increased and quantity demanded of bajra has also increased. They have been forced to buy more bajra even though the price of bajra is increasing. This is what are given goods. Given goods by definition are inferior goods whose quantity demanded will increase as price will increase. This is the only thing that you need to know. This example is for you to remember. This graph or anything is not asked in the mains. At most you can be asked in prelims, what is the meaning of given goods? You will not also be given example. आपको example भी नहीं दिया जाएगा कि example बताओ given good है या नहीं, because there are no real life examples of given goods. There are no real life examples of given goods. They have not been found yet. In some places in history it has been said that yes, this was the given effect, but it has not been proven. Now I hope all of you have written this down. I hope ये लिख लिया है आप सबने. देखो, whenever we are examining one variable in economics, obviously this is not possible in real life because bajra and wheat are not the only things to available in the market. और बहुत सारी चीजें available हैं. Economics में when we look at one equation, we will only look at the information available to us. अगर आप real world से इसको connect करने लगोगे, you will never be ever able to place an economic concept in the real world because at least 500 things are happening together. जब हमें समझना है, we have to understand one instance at a time. Okay. Now, moving on. Now, we have to now understand the new concept of elasticities. But before we go here, I'll give you a break for, let's say, 3 minutes, and then we'll study elasticities. चलो, since break का time है, let me ask you a question. What is the most difficult job in the world? According to you, what is the most difficult job in the world? बताओ. As per you, most difficult job in the world. Somebody is saying parent, I think, और क्या teacher? नहीं. The most difficult job in the world is sitting and reading this chat. Because इस chat में there are messages like सर आप बालों में क्या लगाते हो? Somebody is saying, oh smarty, I am not your friend. At least till now I am not your friend. If I take these things lightly and if I don't say anything to you, doesn't mean that you can write whatever you want. है ना? यहाँ पर somebody is sitting, the person who is reading your chat at the moment is someone who has appeared in the interview of this examination. So please respect them also. मैंने तो देख लिया, मैं खुद तो नहीं पढ़ सकता. So I asked him to do it. He is someone who has appeared in the interview and he is reading your chat. It is definitely one of the most difficult jobs in the world, if not the most difficult. Chalo. Now, let us move to this concept of elasticities. देखो, what is the meaning of the word elastic? हमने रबर बैंड को देखा है. रबर बैंड, if we stretch it, it moves, right? ऐसे रबर बैंड को स्ट्रेच करते हैं, मूव करता है, right? If I stretch this pen, will it stretch? No. But if I stretch this rubber band, it will move. If I am stretching this shirt, it is moving. If I am stretching this pen, it is not moving. If I stretch this board, it will not move. If I stretch this shirt, it will move. Elastic is something that responds when you put a force on it. For example, when I put a force on a rubber band, force is the pull, the rubber band will move. If I stretch this shirt will move. If I stretch this pen is not moving. What does it mean? This pen is inelastic. It is not elastic. Rubber band is elastic. This board, after stretching it, it will not expand. So it is inelastic. My shirt, if I am stretching it, it is expanding, meaning it is elastic. So elastic is anything that responds when you put a force on it. Now, in economics, what are the forces that are moving your demand? What are the forces? What are the forces that are moving your demand of a particular item? Price is a force that moves your demand. Income is a force that moves your demand. We have seen this. Price of other products is a force that moves your demand. So forces that are affecting our decision to buy, forces that are affecting our demand, as are what we were studying till now. We were studying price, income, price of other products, expectation of future price, etc. These are forces that are affecting our decision to buy. So price is a force that impacts demand, and demand responds to price. If demand is responding to price, if demand is responding to price, demand is responding to change in price, we will say that demand is elastic to price. Demand is elastic to price. Demand is responding to a change in price. Demand is elastic to price. This is the word elastic in economics, meaning things that respond to a force. Okay. Now, elastic means responsive. Anything that is elastic is responsive. Demand of a good responds to change in price. This will be called price elasticity of demand. Demand responds to price. उल्टा देखो, demand responds to price. This is known as price elasticity of demand, the responsiveness of demand to a change in price. Demand of a good responds to change in prices of other goods. Demand of a good is responding to change in prices of other goods. I change the price of some other good, the demand of this good will change. Give me an example of this. Demand of coffee is responding to the change in price of tea. What is this? What is this called? नहीं, इस इफेक्ट को क्या कहते हैं? Substitute good. Demand of coffee changes with price change of tea. This is example of substitute good. So, if demand of good is responding to change in price, this is price elasticity of demand. Demand of good is responding to change in price of other goods. It can be substitute good, it can be complement good. This type of elasticity is called cross elasticity of demand. Demand is responding to some other goods price change. Demand is responding to some other goods price change. This is called cross elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand. Demand is changing with change in price. Demand is responding to change in price. Cross elasticity of demand. Demand is responding to change in price of some other good, like tea and coffee, like bread and jam. This can be substitute also, this can be complement also. Cross elasticity of demand. Third, demand of good is responding to change in incomes. Demand responds to change in incomes. Demand responds to change in income. This is called income elasticity of demand. What are the two types of goods we have read that demonstrate income elasticity of demand? What are the two types of good that we have read that demonstrate income elasticity of demand? Normal and inferior goods. Normal good and inferior good. This we have already read. Now, first let us understand what is price elasticity of demand. Now we will see these three concepts in detail. We will see these three concepts in detail. Price elasticity of demand. Change in quantity demanded. Demand is responding to change in price of that good, same good. Change in quantity demanded with change in price. Price elasticity of demand is equal to change in quantity demanded in percentage divided by change in price in percentage. Please write this much. Please write this much down. ये लिख लो please. Price elasticity of demand equals change in quantity demanded, that is in percentage. How much change is there in quantity demanded in percentage divided by change in price in percentage. Please write this down. हो जाए तो डन लिख देना प्लीज. Okay. This is price elasticity of demand. Demand is responding to change in price. अब we have seen luxury good. ये हम एग्जांपल देख चुके हैं. लग्जरी गुड का स्मॉल चेंज इन प्राइस, Small change in price leads to huge change in quantity demanded. Small change in price, huge change of quantity demanded. We have also seen necessary good. Small change, huge change in price, small change in quantity demanded. लग्जरी गुड में हमने क्या देखा? स्मॉल चेंज इन प्राइस, ह्यूज चेंज इन क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड. नेसेसरी गुड में क्या देखा? ह्यूज चेंज इन प्राइस, स्मॉल चेंज इन क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड. इन विच ऑफ दीज केसेस विल द वैल्यू ऑफ पीईडी, प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड, बी मोर? इन दोनों केसेस में से पीईडी में किसकी वैल्यू ज्यादा होगी? गुड. PED is equal to change in quantity demanded by change in price. यहां पर change in quantity demanded with change in price is very high. यहां पर change in quantity demanded with change in price is very low. बहुत. यहां पर price change ज्यादा है, quantity demanded कम है. In this case, price change is very small, quantity demanded is very high. So in this case, price elasticity of demand is more in cases of luxury goods. अब इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, ध्यान से सुनना इस क्वेश्चन को. डोंट आंसर इमीडिएटली. प्लीज लिसन टू द क्वेश्चन बिफोर यू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन. आई एम वार्निंग यू, मोस्ट लोग इसका जवाब गलत देने वाले हैं, मुझे पता है. ठीक है, और ऐसे ही हम प्रीलिम्स में फेल होते हैं. विच ऑफ दीज इज इलास्टिक? ध्यान से, विच ऑफ दीज इज इलास्टिक? Which of these is elastic? चलो, 80% लोगों ने सही जवाब दिया है, बट 20% ने गलत भी दिया है. Have I asked, मैंने ये पूछा है क्या कि which of them is more elastic? Have I asked which of them is more elastic? No. Both are elastic. In both, there is a change in quantity demanded with change in price. With change in price in both, दोनों जगह प्राइस चेंज होने पे क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड चेंज हो रही है. यहां पर प्राइस जब यहां से यहां नीचे जाता है, क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड चेंजेस. यहां पर प्राइस जब यहां से यहां नीचे जाता है, क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड चेंजेस. बोथ आर एक्चुअली इलास्टिक. दोनों में ही प्राइस चेंज से क्वांटिटी डिमांड चेंज हो रही है. लग्जरी गुड्स आर मोर इलास्टिक. Necessary goods are less elastic. That might be a different story, but both of them are elastic. दोनों में ही quantity demand change हो, price change होने से, change in price, there is leading to a change in quantity demanded. So both of them are elastic goods. Luxury goods are more elastic. यहां ज्यादा change है, यहां कम change है, but change दोनों में है. Now, price elasticity of demand is change in quantity demanded by change in price. I can write this as delta QD upon delta P. Luxury goods में there is higher, more price elasticity of demand. Necessary goods में there are less price elasticity of demand. But both of these are elastic. दोनों में ही कुछ ना कुछ change हो रहा है. Now, in case of luxury goods, change in quantity demanded, luxury goods की बात कर रहे हैं, change in quantity demanded is high, change in price is low. Change in price is low, change in quantity demanded is high. this value is greater than 1. यहां पर this value is greater than 1. So in luxury goods I can say price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. If I speak of necessary goods, in necessary goods change in quantity demanded is low, change in price is high. So in necessary goods, the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. In luxury goods, change in quantity demanded is high, change in price is low, change in price is low, change in quantity demanded is high. So price elasticity of demand for luxury goods is greater than 1. In necessary goods, change in quantity demanded is low, change in quantity demanded is low, change in price is very high. So this value is less than 1. Therefore, luxury goods price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. They are elastic. Demand responds to price change. Necessary goods में price elasticity of demand is less than 1. They are still elastic. They are still responding, but they are relatively, comparatively, relatively inelastic. यहां पर भी चेंज हो रहा है, बट चेंज कम हो रहा है. सो दे आर रिलेटिवली इन कंपैरिजन टू लग्जरी गुड्स दे आर इनइलास्टिक. रिलेटिवली इनइलास्टिक. दोनों जगह पर चेंजेस तो हैं, दोनों जगह पर चेंजेस हैं, बट दे आर रिलेटिवली इनइलास्टिक, कंपैरेटिवली इनइलास्टिक. दे आर रिलेटिवली इलास्टिक. relatively elastic, relatively inelastic. Both are elastic. दोनों में change हो रहा है. Both with change in price, there is a change in quantity demanded. But luxury goods are relatively more elastic. Necessary goods are relatively less elastic or relatively inelastic. Please write this down. अनंग आएंगे PED 1 पे. We will come to those goods that where PED is 1. वो भी देखेंगे. अभी जो सामने है वो समझ लो प्लीज. Now, look at this graph. इस ग्राफ की बात करते हैं. Price of good, quantity demanded. In this case, what is the change in quantity demanded with change in price? In this case, what is the change in quantity demanded? What is the change in quantity demanded with change in price? Price चाहे यहां हो, price चाहे यहां हो, the quantity demanded remains the same. Value of PED is what? PED is change in quantity demanded with change in price. यहां change in quantity demanded is 0. Now, when can this example happen? Let's say you are a patient of cancer, or rather let's say I am a patient of cancer. आपको क्यों कैंसर कराऊं, खुद ही को करा लेता हूं. चैट पढ़ के आंखों में कैंसर हो सकता है वैसे अगर कोई पढ़े तो. You are a patient or I am a patient of cancer. I have to eat a drug called tacrolimus every day. If I don't eat one tablet of tacrolimus every day, I will die. I have to eat a tablet of tacrolimus every day. if I don't eat one tablet of tacrolimus, I will die. Earlier, one tablet of tacrolimus was rupees 10. Now, one tablet of tacrolimus is rupees 100. Even though the price of tacrolimus has become 10 times, I will still have to eat one per day. I will still have to eat one per day. There is no other way. मैं जीवित ही नहीं रह सकता हूं tacrolimus खाए बिना. Right? In this case, the quantity demanded will remain same regardless of the change in price. Even if they make it 1000 rupees per day, I will still buy one tablet per day and eat it. Right? My demand will not change. Right? My demand does not change. So in this case, demand does not respond to price. So can I say that demand is perfectly inelastic, fully inelastic, fully non-responsive to price? This is an example of perfectly inelastic demand. Graph will look like this. Price elasticity of demand in this case will be 0. Demand will not respond to price at all. Now, next case. Let's say, ये पढ़ लेते हैं एक बार. Quantity demanded, straight line graph. Quantity demanded does not change at all with change in price. For example, in a cancer patient in life-saving drugs. Okay. Now, in this case, price elasticity of demand, change in quantity demanded divided by change in price. So, change in quantity demanded stays 0, whatever the change in price. So, it is perfectly non-responsive, perfectly inelastic. Now, अब मैं आपको एक और बात बताता हूं. Again, only process the information which is there on the board. यहां पर अगर आप सोचने लगो कि यार किसी के पास 100 रुपए नहीं हुए तो it does not matter. That is an example to explain this. We only have to understand this. We don't have to understand the example. Example is to make it closer to a real life situation. Example might not be perfect. This is what we have to understand. They will never ask you, is this good perfectly inelastic or not? मैं आपको questions दिखाऊंगा, ऐसे questions नहीं आते. Questions क्या आते हैं? When price elasticity of demand is 0, what is the good? ये actual CDS में पूछा हुआ question है. When price elasticity of demand is 0, what type of good is it? Then you will say it is a perfectly inelastic good. समझ आ रही है बात? We don't have to understand the examples. The examples are only to get closer to real life. We have to understand the graphs. I hope this is clear. ये actual UPSC का पूछा हुआ question है. If price elasticity of demand of a good is 0, which type of good is it? At that time, you should be able to write this formula. Say 0 change in quantity demanded regardless of change in price, therefore perfectly non-responsive, therefore perfectly inelastic, and tick the right option. ये समझना हमें जरूरी है. Now, examples like this one, like the one on the board, are given to make it more evident to you. For example, चैट में से किसी एक का नाम, वर्धन। वर्धन जी ने डिसाइड किया कि वो जाएंगे यूएसए। वर्धन डिसाइडेड टू गो टू यूएसए. He checked on his phone that $1 is currently equal to 84 rupees. $1 is equal to 84 rupees. ये उन्होंने अपने फोन पे देख लिया. Once he saw this, he went to the airport. Before boarding his flight, he thought, let me exchange some currency. मैं थोड़ी करेंसी एक्सचेंज कर लेता हूं. There were two currency exchange kiosks there. दो कियोस्क थे. एक कियोस्क में $1 वॉज फॉर ₹85. सेकेंड में $1 वॉज फॉर ₹84. $1 वॉज फॉर ₹85. $1 एक में था $1 फॉर ₹84. वेयर विल एवरीवन, लाइक वर्धन, वेयर विल एवरीवन बाय देयर डॉलर्स फ्रॉम? Everyone will buy their dollars from this kiosk, right? Everyone will buy their dollars from this kiosk because it is cheaper, right? सब यहीं से खरीदेंगे. अब वर्धन knows that $1 is for 84 rupees. Vardhan knows that the moment he lands in USA, he will get $1. He will get $1 for 84 rupees. The moment he lands in USA, the moment he steps out of the airplane in USA, he will get $1 for 84 rupees. When he goes to the Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi, at the IGI airport in Delhi, both kiosks are now selling $1 for ₹90. Or let's say both kiosks are selling now $1 for ₹85. दोनों जगह ही उसे $1 85 रुपीस का मिल रहा है. He knows that the moment he lands in USA, he will get $1 for 84 rupees. Where will he buy his dollars from? Will he buy them here, or will he wait till he goes to USA and then buy his dollars? He will go to USA and buy from US. Imagine the case of this kiosk now. Earlier, this kiosk was selling $1 for 84 rupees. Now this kiosk decided to sell $1 for 85 rupees. With small increase in price, very small increase in price, what happened? The entire demand of dollars from this kiosk went to zero. Earlier, every traveler going to USA was buying from this kiosk. This kiosk raised its rate, its price by 1 rupee. 84 से 85 का कर दिया, and entire demand now shifted to USA. सबने कहा यहां से नहीं खरीदना, यूएस जाके खरीदेंगे बिकॉज ये महंगा है. What has happened in this case? In this case, small change in price in this kiosk, small change in price has led to huge, almost an infinitely large change in quantity demanded. पहले every single traveler who was at the IGI airport was buying from kiosk number 2. They just changed their price by 1 rupee, and now everyone is buying from USA. Small change in price has led to huge change, almost infinitely large change in quantity demanded. Every single traveler is going to USA and buying their dollar. What is this situation called? In this situation, the demand is perfectly responding to change in price. A small change A small change here is leading to infinite change here. Small change here is leading to infinite change here. This means this is called perfectly elastic demand curve. What is happening in this case if I represent on a graph? Price elasticity of demand is change in quantity demanded divided by change in price. Change in price here is fairly small. Change in quantity demanded is almost infinite. Infinite divided by a small number will also be infinite. The graph will look something like this. As soon as I change the price, अभी प्राइस 84 पे है, 85 पे जाते ही क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड बिकम 0. थोड़ा सा प्राइस चेंज करते ही, थोड़ा एक लेवल ऊपर जाते ही प्राइस बिकम्स 0. Demand is perfectly responding to change in price. Small change in price leads to infinite change in demand. This is an example of perfectly elastic demand curve. Slight change in price will mean no quantity demanded. Change in quantity demanded is very, very large, almost infinite. Every single traveler who had a demand now has 0 demand. Small change in price, huge change in quantity demanded. Quantity demanded responds perfectly to the price, known as perfectly elastic. Price elasticity of demand, change in quantity by change in price is almost infinite. Graph looks like this. Now, क्या देखा हमने? We have seen these two things. This is what you need to remember. Please draw these graphs. Kiosk मतलब shop, Akshay, small shop. Please draw these graphs. Grishmika, because it is change in quantity demanded, not quantity demanded. In the formula, the numerator is change in quantity demanded. Now, to remember this, perfectly elastic, this graph looks like an E. Perfectly inelastic, this graph looks like an I. तो अगर कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा, ये याद कर लो. अगर कुछ याद नहीं आ रहा, please understand this. Perfectly elastic means the graph looks like an E. Here the graph looks like an I. Perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic. What is the value of PED in case 1? What is the value of PED in case 2? Small change in price, infinite change in quantity demanded. No matter what the change in price, 0 change in quantity demanded. Again, there are rarely any real world examples of a perfectly elastic demand curve. There are rarely any examples of a perfectly elastic demand curve. That is why we have to approximate an example. This is what you need to remember. You will never be asked whether this good is perfectly elastic or not. You will be asked that in a perfectly elastic good, what will happen to demand if the price changes. This is what we need to remember. आप समझ रहे हो? हम रियल वर्ल्ड से कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं, बट क्वेश्चंस आर नॉट ऑफ दिस टाइप. जस्ट टू गिव यू एन एग्जांपल एंड टू शो यू जो क्वेश्चंस हमारे जनरली आते हैं, क्वेश्चंस हमारे जनरली आते हैं, दे आर मोर लाइक दिस. ये देखो, क्वेश्चंस आर जनरली लाइक दिस. नाउ ट्राई एंड सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन. Although we will do this, हमने अभी ये किया नहीं है. This is income elasticity, but you see questions are generally like this, generally like this. And if there is a good involved, it is given kerosene is an inferior good. तो आपको रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल से देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. Okay, it is generally asked in the form of you are already given that it is perfectly elastic and you have to answer further. वो हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. नाउ अब यह क्वेश्चन कई लोगों का था. व्हाट इफ प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड इज इक्वल टू 1? व्हाट इफ प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड इज इक्वल टू 1? 1 is also known as unity. This thing is known as unit elastic. Change in quantity demanded upon change in price is 1. That means I can write change in quantity demanded is equal to change in price. Okay, change in quantity demanded is equal to change in price. So if I increase the price by 10%, quantity demanded will decrease by 10%. If I increase the quantity demanded, if I increase the price by 20%, quantity demanded will decrease by 20%. Now let us connect. देखो, first good we read was luxury good. In luxury good, what was the value of price elasticity of demand? Greater than 1 or less than 1? In luxury goods, what was the value of price elasticity of demand? Greater than 1 or less than 1? It was greater than 1. Change in quantity upon change in price was greater than 1. So change in quantity was greater than change in price. Small change in price led to greater change in quantity. This is what we had seen in luxury goods. Small change in price, more change in quantity. This is what we had seen luxury goods में. Clear हुआ? Change in quantity was more than change in price. Second case of a necessary good. In necessary good, price elasticity of demand was what value? What was the value of price elasticity of demand in a necessary good? Less than 1 or greater than 1? It was less than 1. In this case, delta Q by delta P was less than 1. Change in quantity was less than change in price. This is what we had seen. Change in price was more, change in quantity is less. यही देखा था हमने. नाउ आगे देखते हैं. In a unit elastic or unity elastic good, price elasticity of demand was equal to 1. Change in quantity demanded by change in price was equal to 1. So change in quantity demanded was equal to change in price. The moment there is change in quantity demanded, there is change in price. Exactly like this. जितना change in quantity demanded, उतना ही change in price. Graph does not matter. You will never be given this graph. Graph is for understanding. This matters. Understanding matters. I will have to measure if this graph is at 45 degrees. That graph will be at 45 degrees like this. Okay. Then fourth case we saw was perfectly inelastic. Does not respond. Inelastic does not respond. Change in quantity by change in price equal to price elasticity of demand. In this case was how much? यहां पर PED कितना था? PED was 0. So change in quantity was 0. This because of change in quantity being 0, PED was 0. So regardless of change in price, quantity demanded stays the same. This was the graph. Next case. Next case we have seen is perfectly elastic. Change in quantity demanded by change in price was equal to PED. In this case, what was the PED? PED was infinite because with a small change in change of price, change of quantity demanded was almost infinite. Graph looked like this. ये 5 केसेस आपको क्लियर हैं. आर दीज 5 केसेस क्लियर टू यू? अब क्या देखो, व्हाट इज द जॉब ऑफ एन इकोनॉमिस्ट? इकोनॉमी में, पॉलिसी मेकिंग में, या इकोनॉमी जो हमारा मीन्स में आता है, या जैसे हमें सोचना है, व्हाट इज आवर जॉब? वी विल नो दीज थिंग्स. हमें एक गुड के लिए पता है कि यार ये गुड इनइलास्टिक है, ये गुड रिलेटिवली इलास्टिक है, ये गुड ऐसा है. दिस आई नो. ओके, आई नो दिस. I have to then derive my assumptions from this. Now we will see how people will apply this thing, right? अब What is the total revenue I generate from a good in the market? Revenue generated from a good in the market. For any good in the market, the revenue I generate is price of the good multiplied by quantity of that good sold. Price of a good multiplied by quantity of that good sold. If I sell one ice cream for rupees 100, my revenue is 1 into rupees 100 equal to 100. If I sell 5 ice creams for rupees 20, my revenue is 5 into 20 equal to rupees 100. So revenue generated from any good is equal to price of good into quantity of that good that is sold. Revenue generated is price of good into quantity of goods sold. This is fairly easy. We have seen 5 cases. I am just repeating these 5 cases. We have seen 5 cases. Case 1, price elasticity of demand greater than 1. Goods are known as relatively elastic. Second, price elasticity of demand less than 1. Goods are known as relatively inelastic. Price elasticity of demand equal to 1. Goods are known as unit elastic. Price elasticity of demand equal to 0. Goods are known as perfectly inelastic. Price elasticity of demand equal to infinity. Goods are known as perfectly elastic. ये हमें पता है ना? This I know. This I know. This word relatively means comparatively. These goods are relatively inelastic. These goods are relatively inelastic compared to this. These goods are relatively elastic compared to this. Value of PED is what? PED is equal to delta Q upon delta P. ये हमें पता है. Please write this down. I am giving you break for 2 minutes with this on the board. I want you to absorb this. इसके बाद आपसे एक policy question पूछूंगा. I will ask you a policy question after this. I will ask you a policy question after this. 2 मिनट का break है. Please absorb this information. If you are able to answer that policy question, if you are able to answer that policy question, you have a very good chance of clearing this exam. 2 मिनट के बाद पूछूंगा. एक चीज और लिख देता हूं ताकि सारे इंफॉर्मेशन आपको क्लियर हो फॉर दैट पॉलिसी क्वेश्चन. लबासना में पूछा गया था ये पॉलिसी क्वेश्चन हमसे. We were asked this policy question in Labasna. Of course, they did not give us all of this background because we are expected to know these things. Total revenue of a good generated is price of good into quantity of good sold. ये इंफॉर्मेशन अब्सॉर्ब कर लो. 2 मिनट का टाइम है. I don't know where I will put this timer now. Okay, I'll just put a timer in my watch. 2 मिनट का टाइम है. 1 मिनट का टाइम रह गया है. I will come back and ask you a policy question. नाउ ठीक है, वापस आते हैं. आई विल आस्क यू अ पॉलिसी क्वेश्चन. आई एम द गवर्नमेंट. माई ओनली ऑब्जेक्टिव is to increase my tax revenue generated. सोच के जवाब देना है, आसान क्वेश्चन नहीं है. ठीक है, दिस वाज आस्क्ड ऑन in the first class of the economics module in Labasna. As the government, everybody sitting in Labasna is part of the government. As the government, my objective is to increase tax revenue. Only increase tax revenue, forget everything else. There are three goods where I can increase the tax, where I can put a tax. I have to put a tax on one of these three goods. It is my choice. Only one of these three. First good is relatively inelastic. Second good is unit elastic. Third good is relatively elastic. These are the three goods. I have to put a tax on only one good to increase my tax revenue. Which good should I put the tax on? सोच के फॉर्मूला लिख के सोच के जवाब देना. If you get this right, you are, in my opinion, fairly intelligent. When I went to Labasna, I had a problem answering this question. मुझे बहुत सोचना पड़ा. Then I came to the answer. सोच के जवाब देना. I am not going to give you the answer right now. हम आंसर अभी पढ़ते पढ़ते देखेंगे. Keep this question in mind. My only objective is to increase tax revenue. और जो भी आप आंसर दे रहे हो, have a logic behind it. If you don't know, say, sir, I don't understand. The most intelligent person is the person who can get this right. The second most intelligent person is who says, I don't know. The third most intelligent person is who says any random answer. If you don't know, nahi samajh aa raha, right, you don't know. That is also a sign of intelligence, meaning you are willing to learn rather than giving an answer ऐसे randomly. चलो, क्वेश्चन समझ आ गया. अब आगे पढ़ते हैं. Applications of price elasticity of demand. We will answer this question in next 5 minutes. Applications of price elasticity of demand. Total revenue generated from a good is price of good into quantity demanded या quantity sold. हम मान रहे हैं पूरी डिमांड सेटिस्फाई हो रही है. Price of good into quantity demanded is total revenue. If it is an inelastic good, if it is a relatively inelastic good, change in quantity demanded by change in price. What is the value of this figure? What is the value of this figure? What is the value of this figure in relatively inelastic? What is the value here? Less than 1. That means change in quantity demanded is less than change in price. Price change is more, quantity demanded is less. ये हमें पता है. This we are aware of. If it is an relatively inelastic good, earlier this good's price was rupees 100, quantity demanded was 10, total revenue was rupees 1000. Now I made the price rupees 200. The quantity demanded will not change that much because I know change in price is always greater than change in quantity demanded. Change in price was very high. Change in quantity demanded will not be that much. quantity demanded from 10 now becomes 8. Quantity demanded is 8. Total revenue is 200 into 8 equal to rupees 1600. Okay. Total revenue was price into quantity demanded. In inelastic good, earlier price was rupees 100, quantity demanded was 10, total revenue is rupees 1000. Now I know that change in price will always be higher than change in quantity demanded since it is relatively inelastic good. This I am aware of. Now I change the price 100 say I made 200, quantity demanded में small change happen, only 2 units change happened. From 10 it became 8, quantity demanded became 8, total revenue became 200 into 8 equal to 1600. So what happened? In a relatively inelastic good, I increase the price and the total revenue increased. ये clear है? Is this clear? ठीक है. Okay, next example देखते हैं. Next example is of a elastic good. In elastic good, price elasticity of demand, change in quantity demanded by change in price is greater than 1. So change in quantity demanded is more than change in price. This I know. This I am aware of. Earlier price of this good was rupees 100. Quantity demanded was 10. Total revenue was 100 into 10, 1000 rupees. Now I increase the price of this good. Price becomes rupees 200. Change in quantity demanded will be more. Very high change in quantity demand will happen with change in price since this is a elastic good. PED is greater than 1. So quantity demanded from 10 now becomes 4. Total revenue becomes 200 into 4 equal to 800. So in the case of an elastic good, increasing the price led to reduction in my total revenue. Is this clear? Is this clear? नीचे वाला भूल जाओ अभी. Is this clear? ठीक है. Now in the same good, it is an elastic good. Change in quantity demanded will be more than change in price. I reduce the price by 20 rupees. Quantity demanded will become much higher. Quantity demanded will change, but now change in opposite direction. Price कम कर दिया, लोग ज्यादा खरीदेंगे और बहुत ज्यादा खरीदेंगे. Quantity demanded becomes 15. In the second case, I have reduced the price. When I reduce the price, when I make anything cheaper, quantity demanded increases. I have made the price rupees 80, quantity demanded becomes 15. Now total revenue is 15 into 80 equal to 1200 rupees. So in an elastic good, if I decrease the price, total revenue increases. ये सेकंड केस समझ आया? ठीक है. Third case, if it is a unit elastic good meant price elasticity of demand is equal to change in quantity upon change in price equals to 1. So change in quantity equals to change in price. The price of this good earlier was rupees 100. Quantity demanded was rupees 10. Now I increase the price, or let's say I decrease the price. I made the price rupees 50. Whatever percentage change there will be in change of price, same percentage change will happen in quantity demanded. Price was reduced by half, so quantity demanded became double because change will be same. Total revenue earlier was 100 into 10. Now total revenue is 50 into 20, again stays at 1000. So there is no change in revenue. I know that percentage change in quantity demanded and percentage change in price will be 1. Change in quantity demanded and change in price will be same. I reduce the price by 50%, the quantity demanded becomes double. Total revenue stays the same. So there is no change in revenue with change of price in unit elastic good. Is this clear? Now get back to this question. चलो छोड़ो, हम देखेंगे question. I asked you this exact question. This is the statement of the question I was asked in Lavasna. You are Honorable Joint Secretary, Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. This post is generally occupied by an IRS. Should I tax an elastic good or an inelastic good or a unit elastic good? This was the question in front of us. Whenever I tax a good, if I place a tax on a good, will its price increase or decrease? Price will increase. My objective as the government is to keep my tax revenue very high. अब I hope आपको आंसर समझ आ गया होगा, but I'll still show you. Let's say I tax an elastic good. Example, restaurant meals. If I improve or increase the tax on elastic goods, in elastic goods what happens? PED is greater than 1. Delta Q upon delta P is greater than 1. Change in quantity demanded is greater than change in price. I increased the price by taxing it. From rupees 100, price became rupees 120. Change in quantity demanded will be much more. From 5 people eating in restaurant, now I only have 2 people eating in restaurant. Earlier economy was making 500 rupees from restaurant meals. Now economy is making nearly 240 rupees from restaurant meals. So my tax revenue has not given me any benefit. I should not tax this good because इकोनॉमी में पहले 500 रुपए की एक्टिविटी हो रही थी, अब इकोनॉमी में सिर्फ 240 रुपए की एक्टिविटी हो रही है. I have not gained anything from this. Now, second case. I increase the tax rate on cigarettes. Cigarettes are an inelastic good. In inelastic good, price elasticity of demand is less than 1. Change in quantity by change in price is less than 1. Change in quantity is less than change in price. When I tax the good, the price of the good increases. Price has increased, but quantity demanded undergoes very less change. Very less change of quantity demanded happens because change in price is greater than change in quantity demanded. Total revenue here is price into quantity demanded. Price I have increased with taxation. Quantity demanded undergoes very, very less change. So total revenue of the economy will increase and my tax revenue will also increase. So I should be ideally taxing an inelastic good. Now, cigarettes are inelastic goods. Why are cigarettes inelastic goods? Even if you increase the price, people will still buy them because people are addicts. Delta P, change in price is always more than change in quantity. Alcohol is an inelastic good. Even if I increase the price, addicts will keep on buying it. Petrol is an inelastic good. Even if I increase the price, people will have to buy it. So it is these relatively inelastic goods that the government taxes more. And this will be visible in the economy around you. आपको ये नोटिस होगा कि सिगरेट्स पे टैक्स जनरली ज्यादा होता है, अल्कोहल पे टैक्स बहुत ज्यादा होता है, पेट्रोल पे टैक्स बहुत ज्यादा है, because even with a change in price, the change in quantity demanded is very less. So even if the government keeps on taxing these inelastic goods, even if the government keeps on taxing this inelastic goods, you and I will still have to consume them. We will not have an option. And therefore, the government chooses to tax inelastic goods. If the government taxes elastic goods, we will stop consuming them. इलास्टिक गुड्स के केस में अगर गवर्नमेंट उन पे बहुत ज्यादा टैक्स लगा दे तो हम कंज्यूम करना ही बंद कर देंगे. But in inelastic goods like cigarettes, alcohol, petrol, government will increase the tax, price will increase, but quantity demanded will almost stay the same, and because of this, the tax revenue of the government will increase. कुछ समझ आया? This is not the only reason why government chooses to tax cigarettes. There are various other reasons also. Government can choose to tax medicines also. If government chooses to tax medicines, what will happen? Government's tax revenue will increase a lot, but government will lose the next election. Do you understand this? Decisions in the government are not merely made on economic basis. There is also a political basis. Government can choose to tax cancer medicines and the tax revenue will increase a lot because they are perfectly inelastic. But the opposition will then come and say, okay, look at this government, they are taxing goods that are essential for survival. They are taxing the goods of people who are already having cancer and they will lose the next election. That is why they don't tax medicines. They will tax cigarettes because no opposition will come and say कि देखो सिगरेट इन्होंने इतनी महंगी कर दी, please don't vote against them. Alcohol इन्होंने महंगी कर दी, please don't vote against them. Decisions in the government are made with a combination of factors. Here we are only considering the economic factors. Have you learned something about the economy? ये जो हम इतने टाइम से इलास्टिक इनइलास्टिक का ड्रामा कर रहे हैं, उससे have you learned something about the world around you? Okay, let's continue. Now we are going to understand something called determinants. Determinants of price elasticity of demand. What determines the price elasticity of demand of a particular good? एक गुड की प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड कैसे डिटरमाइन होती है? दिस वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न नाउ. Umang is saying if we reduce price of elastic goods, it will be win-win situation for all. That is why firms pay consultants a lot of money. Firms pay consultants this money to understand whether their goods are elastic or inelastic. If I know my good is inelastic, I will raise the price. If the price of this course is, let's say this course is an inelastic good, I can raise the price and get a lot more revenue. If this course is an elastic good, I have to reduce the price to get a lot more revenue. To find this out, companies like BCG, McKinsey, they are doing this job only for companies. वो यही काम कर रही हैं to find this out by doing market research. There is no way to determine this. यहां तो मैं आपको एग्जांपल दे रहा हूं. There is no way to determine this other than doing market research. Now, we have to now read the determinants of price elasticity of demand. How do I determine whether something is elastic, inelastic, relatively inelastic, perfectly inelastic? ये मैं कैसे decide करता हूं? Now, the first factor is number of substitutes. If a good has many substitutes, many alternatives, अगर एक गुड के बहुत सारे alternatives हैं, will it be inelastic or elastic? प्लीज सोचे बिना जवाब मत देना. सोच के good, it will be elastic. How? If many alternatives are available, if many alternatives are available, if I change the price, if many alternatives are available and I change the price, people will simply buy a different option. If I change the price, people will go for a different option. People will choose to study from a different place. If I raise the prices too high, people have some other option and they will go and study from that option. If I change the price, if I increase the price too much, there are many alternatives available. People will go and buy those alternatives. There are many types of coffee available. If one type of coffee is increased in price, people will simply buy the other type of coffee. So change in quantity demanded will be much more than change in price. So quantity demanded upon change in price will become more than one. This is the case with elastic goods. So if many alternatives are available, people will just stop buying that good and go for other options. With small change in price, there will be lot of change in quantity demanded. There will be elastic goods. Next, whether a good is luxury or a necessity also determines its price elasticity of demand. And we have already studied this. We have already studied this. अब मुझे बताओ, luxury goods are elastic or inelastic? luxury goods are elastic or inelastic? Good. In luxury goods, if I change the price, small change in price leads to huge change in quantity demanded. लग्जरी गुड्स का हमने ग्राफ भी देखा था. लग्जरी गुड्स का ग्राफ लुक्स लाइक दिस. This is the change in quantity demanded. This is the small change in price. So luxury goods are elastic goods. Necessity goods का भी हमने ग्राफ देखा था. They are like this. Necessary goods are inelastic goods. Next, luxury good में change in price was small, change in quantity demanded was huge, therefore it was a elastic good. Necessary good में change in price was huge, change in quantity demanded was very small, therefore they were relatively inelastic goods. ये हम already देख चुके हैं. Now, time period. Now, price of petrol. ध्यान देना इस एग्जांपल पे. Price of petrol has increased today. You have a petrol car. So do you have any option other than buying petrol? If price of petrol increases and you have a petrol car, you have to buy petrol. There is no other option. Now you are noticing that price of petrol over the years keeps on increasing. Next year also price of petrol increases, second year also, third year also, fourth year also, fifth year also price of petrol becomes much higher. Price of petrol बढ़ता ही जा रहा है over the years. It is constantly increasing, बढ़ता ही जा रहा है over the years. Three years later, you buy a new car. आपने 3 साल बाद बोला कि I want a new car. You are seeing that price of petrol is constantly increasing. Will you buy a petrol car or will you buy an EV? Will you buy an electric car? आपको 3 साल बाद अब गाड़ी खरीदनी है, आप देख रहे हो प्राइस ऑफ पेट्रोल स्काई रॉकेट कर रहा है, तो आप क्या खरीदोगे? Your rational decision will be to buy an EV. Till you are with your petrol car, till the time you are having a petrol car, तब तक no matter the change in price, आपकी change in quantity demanded will be very small. आपकी change in quantity demanded will be very small जब तक आपके पास पेट्रोल कार है. After 3 years, you now have both petrol car and EV car. अब आपके पास पेट्रोल कार भी है और ईवी कार भी है. Now when the price increases, when the price of petrol skyrockets, you will simply not use your petrol car, you will use your EV car. यहां तक क्लियर है? पहले आपके पास सिर्फ पेट्रोल कार थी, प्राइस बढ़ रहा था, आपको खरीदना ही पड़ता पेट्रोल. अब आपने नई गाड़ी ले ली, you have petrol car also, you have EV car also. Petrol price is increasing constantly. You say, I will travel very less in my petrol car, I will travel mostly in my EV car. So after 3 years, petrol became elastic or inelastic? After 3 years, petrol became elastic or inelastic. After 3 years, petrol became elastic. Petrol became elastic because now, even though price increased a lot, you don't have to buy. Your quantity demanded goes down. Your quantity demanded now starts responding. Earlier, your quantity demanded was not responding to change in price. Now, quantity demanded starts responding to change in price because you have another option. You have another option now. आपके पास अब option है, so your responsiveness to the change in price has become much higher. Elastic just means responsive. जब doubt हो, elastic को responsive से replace कर लो. Now you are responding much well to the change in price. Price बढ़ा, आपने पेट्रोल खरीदना बंद कर दिया, आपने EV कार यूज करना शुरू कर दी. Earlier you had no other option. You only had the petrol car, तो आपको खरीदना ही पड़ रहा था. With increase in time period, when we give people more amount of time, it gives them more time to respond to price change. So if prices are high over a long time, consumers will find substitutes or they will learn to live without something. So if petrol prices stay high for a very long time, you will decide to find an alternative and buy an EV car. Or you will learn to live without traveling in a car. You will say, ठीक है, आदत छोड़ देते हैं गाड़ी की, मैं मेट्रो से जाऊंगा. So with the time period, if the time period becomes more, good becomes responsive or elastic. Is this clear? All right. Now, determinants of price elasticity of demand. Proportion of your income. Today, a plane ticket today from Delhi to Bombay or Mumbai costs rupees 4,000. Tomorrow this start costing rupees 40,000. How will you respond? What is your response? What is your response? You will not travel. You will change the quantity demanded. You will be responding to this price change. For you, this is elastic, responsive. You will respond. You will say, कहीं और जाओ. Alternative ढूंढ लेते हैं, मेरे लिए इलास्टिक है. इलास्टिक जहां भी कंफ्यूजन हो, इलास्टिक से रिस्पॉन्सिव. हाउ विल यू रिस्पॉन्ड? यू विल से भाई क्वांटिटी कम कर दो, मुझे नहीं जाना, मैं ट्रेन से चला जाऊंगा. आई विल फाइंड एन अल्टरनेटिव, आई विल नॉट गो फॉर दिस. हाउ विल अंबानी जी रिस्पॉन्ड? How will Ambani ji respond in this case? How will Ambani ji respond? Ambani ji will not care. He will not change his quantity demanded on the basis of this price. So for him, this is an inelastic good because his response will be to not change. 4,000 की टिकट है या 40,000 की है, मुझे जाना है तो मुझे जाना है, बात खत्म. For us, we will find a response and we will find an alternative. What is the main difference between us and Ambani ji here? For Ambani ji, 40,000 rupees might be 0.000001% of his income. For us, 40,000 rupees might be 99.99% of our income. So for Ambani ji, the proportion of income that is spent on this ticket is very, 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 very low. For us, the proportion of income that is spent on this ticket is very, very high. So for Ambani ji, because proportion of income is low, good is inelastic. He does not need to respond to change in price. For us, since proportion of income is high, we need to respond to this price. Good is elastic. समझ आया? So depending on proportion of income also decides whether something is elastic for you or inelastic for you. Proportion of income will also decide, depending on how much part of your income is being spent on that good, it determines whether it is elastic or inelastic for you. Jahan bhi elastic word mein confusion ho, replace it with response. Now, last determinant is addictive product. If a product is addictive, it causes addiction. I get addicted to that product. For example, cigarettes. For example, alcohol. I am addicted to cigarettes. I am addicted to smoking. Now, when the price of a cigarette increases, how will I respond? What will be my response? I will not change my quantity demanded. I will still smoke the same amount of cigarettes. So this is inelastic good. So if it's an addictive product, it is usually an inelastic good. If it is an addictive product, it is also usually a demerit good. What are demerit goods? We will study tomorrow. Since they are both inelastic and demerit goods, cigarettes, alcohol are both inelastic and demerit goods. Government usually decides to tax these products. Government taxes these products because they are both addictive, inelastic and demerit goods. Demerit matlab they are bad for the society. Medicines are merit goods. More medicines are good for the society. They increase healthcare of the society. Cigarettes are demerit goods. They are bad for the society. They have a negative impact on the society. If I smoke, people will around me will also have secondary smoking. They will also get lung cancer. I will also get lung cancer. So they are demerit goods. Since cigarettes and alcohol are both demerit and inelastic, government generally decides to tax these products. This was the question I had asked. Now, next thing we have to read is cross elasticity of demand. So far we have seen price elasticity of demand. How does demand respond to change in price? Now we are seeing XED. XED, X यहाँ पे क्रॉस रिप्रेजेंट करता है क्रॉस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड. How does demand respond to change of price of other goods. But before we see this, we will take a 2-minute break. अच्छा ऑनेस्टली बताओ, ज्यादा हो गया है क्या? I mean, I think I've gone fairly slowly. We've understood everything with logic. ज्यादा हो गया है क्या? Is it too much? देखो, I'll tell you what I have realized is that हम लोगों का जो एक्सपोजर है टुवर्ड्स इकोनॉमिक्स, ठीक है, ओके, व्हाट आई हैव रियलाइज्ड इज कि जो हमारा एक्सपोजर है टुवर्ड्स इकोनॉमिक्स वो काफी कम है. वी आर नॉट एक्सपोज, समटाइम्स वी हैव नॉट सीन ग्राफ्स बिफोर, है ना. आई एम श्योर आप में से कई लोगों के साथ ऐसा होगा that your exposure towards economics is fairly low, and because your exposure towards economics is low, this sort of questions or these sort of discussions might become slightly heavy for you. ठीक है. Now इसका solution ये है, what I have also thought is that after we take tomorrow's class, tomorrow we will read law of supply, types of goods, and two elasticities are left. Very small they are, cross elasticity and income elasticity. वो आप देख चुके हो ऑलरेडी. क्रॉस इलास्टिसिटी आप आराम से अगर दिमाग से सोचो, क्रॉस इलास्टिसिटी क्या होगा? चेंज इन क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड बाय चेंज इन प्राइस ऑफ अदर गुड्स. इसमें अदर गुड्स कौन से होंगे? सब्स्टिट्यूट गुड और कॉम्प्लीमेंट गुड. यही तो है, और यही हम देख रहे थे, वही हम दोबारा देखेंगे अभी. इनकम इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड क्या होगा? हाउ डज डिमांड रिस्पॉन्ड टू इनकम? हमने देख रखा है ऑलरेडी. नॉर्मल गुड्स में इनकम बढ़ेगी, डिमांड बढ़ेगी. इंफीरियर गुड्स में इनकम बढ़ेगी, डिमांड घटेगी. इतना ही पढ़ाना है मुझे अब. दैट इज ऑल. But I have understood after reading your comments that a lot of you might be less exposed to the subject of economics in general, कि आपने बहुत कम ये सब्जेक्ट देखा हो. So what we will do is from this, after we understand these two elasticities and law of supply, rather than continuing on microeconomics, I think एक दो क्लास मुझे और लगती microeconomics पढ़ाने में, we will first go and understand some topics that are close to us. Topics that are close to us are topics like poverty, topics like unemployment, like inequality, that we have generally seen. तो थोड़ा सा ऑर्डर चेंज करके we will read poverty, inequality and unemployment first and then go back to these subjects. मैं कुछ बीच में नहीं छोड़ रहा हूं. We will read law of supply tomorrow. We will read these two elasticities also tomorrow and we will read some types of goods tomorrow. ये तीन चीजें हमें कल पढ़नी है. After doing this, from the next week, we will first do poverty, inequality and unemployment. Poverty is something we can all understand. Unemployment is something we can all understand. Inequality is something we can all understand. And then we can come back to the remaining 2-3 concepts of microeconomics. Is that okay with you? I think आपको भी उससे exposure to the subject will become better. मुझे लग रहा है this is required. I think for most people this is not a problem, but for some people who are probably just starting their preparation, this might be an issue. तो ऐसा करते हैं कि आज we will stop here. मैं आपको ऑलरेडी टॉपिक्स बता देता हूं जो हम कल करने वाले हैं. पहले हम क्रॉस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड पढ़ेंगे. आपको लग रहा है कि आपके नोट्स में नहीं है, बट जब मैं आपको पढ़ा दूंगा यू विल रियलाइज कि आपके नोट्स में है ऑलरेडी. फिर हम इनकम इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड पढ़ेंगे. फिर हम कुछ टाइप्स ऑफ गुड्स जो रह गए हैं वो पढ़ेंगे. और फिर हम लॉ ऑफ सप्लाई पढ़ेंगे. अभी हमने लॉ ऑफ डिमांड पढ़ा था, अभी हम लॉ ऑफ सप्लाई पढ़ेंगे. We will do these things in our 5th class and this will complete the first handout that I have given you. After we complete this, then we will move on to the topic of poverty. ताकि थोड़ा सा कंफर्ट लेवल बढ़े आपका इस सब्जेक्ट के साथ. We will do poverty, inequality and unemployment. These 3 things are to be studied together. ये करने के बाद we can come back to some microeconomic concepts and then come back to national income accounting, जहां पर हम जीडीपी, जीएनपी, ग्रीन जीडीपी एक्सेट्रा, जीडीपी पर कैपिटा, जीडीपी डिफ्लेटर, इन सब में डिफरेंसेस देखेंगे. Okay. Now, so I am stopping this class here. People who are preparing for 2026 can take a leave. 2025 वालों से मुझे थोड़ी बात करनी है. Now I hope only 2025 people are here. 2026 वाले I hope you have all gone. I am assuming only 2025 वाले लोग यहाँ हैं. देखो, अगर 2026 वालों को थोड़ा ज्यादा लग रहा है, it is okay. For them it's acceptable. For you it is not acceptable. तो अब मैं आप लोगों से पूछता हूं, Is there any problem that you have in understanding these? इससे स्लो आपको नहीं पढ़ाया जा सकता. Anywhere you go, देखो वन अप्रोचेस ऐसे मैं कोई डाउट्स नहीं लूंगा, है ना, कि यार ठीक है ये है पढ़ लो, याद कर लो, रट लो, दैट इज नॉट माई वे ऑफ टीचिंग. आई डोंट थिंक आप लोगों को जो 2025 के लिए पढ़ रहे हैं कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होनी चाहिए. Now, I am also sure, I mean, this obviously is a surety on myself, but I am also sure कि आप लोगों को सब समझ आ रहा होगा. I am fairly confident that you would be understanding everything. If that is not the case, please tell me in the chat now. Last question to people preparing for 2025 is, मजा आ रहा है? This is a new subject for you. Are you enjoying this process? मजा आ रहा है देख के? देखो इकोनॉमी में क्या होता है, I'll tell you now. Some people will not have the aptitude to understand this. है ना, उनके पास है ही नहीं एप्टीट्यूड के वो ये चीजें समझ सकें. एंड इट इज मतलब इट इज गोइंग टू हैपन विद एवरीवन, राइट? ये इट इज natural that it is going to happen to everyone, because not every, it is a slightly complex subject. This is not history or polity where you can just understand. इसमें हर चीज के पीछे कोई ना कोई लॉजिक है. बट आई एम अज्यूमिंग दैट एटलीस्ट आप लोगों को मजा आ रहा होगा. देयर इज नथिंग दैट आई हैव टॉट यू येट दैट इज इवन कॉम्प्लेक्स. अभी हमने कुछ कॉम्प्लेक्स चीजें उठाई भी नहीं है, राइट? सो आई एम अज्यूमिंग दैट यू आर हैविंग फन एंड यू आर लर्निंग समथिंग न्यू. लॉ ऑफ डिमांड एंड लॉ ऑफ सप्लाई हैव टू बी स्टडीड टुगेदर. उसके बाद वंस दैट ग्राफ इज क्लियर, डिमांड सप्लाई जब एक ग्राफ पे आ जाएगा और प्राइस आ जाएगा उस ग्राफ पे, जब वो हमें समझ आ जाएगा, देन वी विल मूव टू पॉवर्टी एंड इनइक्वालिटी एंड देन कम बैक टू दिस. ठीक है, दैट्स ऑल आई हैड टू से. कल हम 1 पेजर्स भी रिवाइज करेंगे और मैं आपको डीपीएसपी भी रिवाइज कराऊंगा कल. इट विल बी अ स्लाइटली लॉन्गर क्लास. यू विल हैव टू स्टे फॉर अ स्लाइटली लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन. सो प्लीज बी, आप 2025 वाले ओनली, सो प्लीज बी रेडी फॉर इट. ठीक है, कल पहले हम सारे 1 पेजर्स रिवाइज करेंगे, पहली 5 क्लास का सब कुछ रिवाइज करेंगे. टुमारो वी विल ऑल्सो mug up the DPSP, सारे DPSP, all the articles, all the sub articles, I will make you remember tomorrow. Then we will move on to poverty, unemployment and inequality. ठीक है, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good evening.